Hello and welcome to Sunday Run Day, the podcast. First thing I'd like to do is again give a big thank you to Simon for allowing me to share his running story with you guys last week. It was really nice to be able to take that time out to have a chat with Simon about his running journey and how far he's come along and how far he's continued to grow. So again, thank you for allowing me to share your story and taking the time out to have that discussion around running. And as always, guys, I really love people to share their story with me. I want to share more stories on the podcast, and it's just nice to really have that conversation with the community. I really love to hear about your journeys. As I mentioned, I think everyone has incredible running stories. I think some of us have stories that need to be told and people need to hear them because they're amazing stories. We all have those reasons to run, like I said before, and it's just nice to really hear those stories. So please reach out to me. I definitely have got a few people in line for the next few months, and I want to share as many stories as possible. But in this week's episode, I'm actually going to talk a little bit about how we motivate ourselves to continue to run. So like I mentioned, I ask people questions when I first talk to them about running, and it's always, why did you start running? But also it's, why do you continue to run? So we have many reasons for why we start running. Like I mentioned, it can be health issues. It can be just in general, we decided to start taking up running, especially during COVID, a lot of people took up running. Or it could be we were running as a kid and we took it onto a different level and we wanted to run further or longer, whatever it might be. We all have that reason for starting our journey. But what really keeps us going and what motivates us to keep running? Now, there can be many different reasons for that as well, but what I want to focus on in this week's episode is that motivation to actually go out there and run when we don't feel like it. So for example, currently right now in Melbourne, we have winter. So I will say this, whether or not people believe me or want to think it, in Australia, it is very cold at the moment. We have some very cold mornings. We've had some bad weather with wind and rain, and it does get that way here in Melbourne. You might not believe it, but it does get cold here. So at the moment, it can be a real struggle to motivate ourselves to go out there and go for that run, especially when we wake up in the morning. It's dark, it's wet, it's windy, it's cold, it's miserable out there. So why do we actually go out there and run? What kind of gets us there? Now, motivation only takes us so far, right? We obviously motivate ourselves for many reasons, but only gets us so far. So I wanted to share with you guys this week 5 things that I think can help motivate you. So it's only 5 that I think in general can really help with that motivation. We have so much determination around running, whether it's running certain events or whatever it is that we've set ourselves to do. We're determined to do that and we motivate ourselves. But how can we really motivate ourselves in a cold winter's day? Also, how do we motivate ourselves in a summer's day? When here in Melbourne, especially when it's summer, we get 40-degree days. Do we really want to be going out there running at that moment? Probably not. But how do we do that? How do we motivate ourselves? And I'm going to share with you guys 5 things that I think can help with that motivation and get you out there running. So the first one is setting realistic goals. I think if we set goals, and realistic goals in particular, that can force us to go out there and run. So for example, I have that goal, as I've mentioned in other episodes, of running a marathon under 3 hours. And because I have that goal, and for me it is a realistic goal. For other people it might not be, but for me on my journey of how I've come, I have that realistic goal that I want to run a marathon under 3 hours. So that alone can motivate me to go out there for running. When the weather is bad, when it is rainy and windy, I don't want to go out there for a run, for sure. I don't want to put on my shoes and get wet and be cold. But because I've set myself a goal, that's what gets me up there as well. That helps with that motivation. I'm motivated to do it because I love running. But also having that goal that I have gets me out there. For example, last week, over the weekend in Melbourne, we had bad weather. We had rain, we had wind, it was cold. Did I want to go for a run? No. But I have that goal of wanting to run a marathon under 3 hours. And also we have another event coming up soon. So I had to go out there for my long run. So me and Clara, we had to suck it up. We had to pick a moment where we thought we're not going to get as wet or not going to feel as cold. And we got out there and we've done our long run. It was our last long run before we do our next marathon event. But we had to go out there and we had to go out for that long run. And that in turn motivates us because we know we have a bigger picture. We know we have a goal to achieve or an event that we're running in. So that alone helps us with that motivation. So my first thing I will say is set yourself a goal. Set that realistic goal. It could be whatever. My goal is to run a certain distance in a certain time. Your goal might be to run a certain distance at a certain time as well, or it might be just to run a certain distance, or to actually be able to run for a certain amount of time before you have to then stop for a second and take that walk for a bit and then get back into it. Whatever goal it is, that can help motivate you. In days that you don't feel up to running, having a goal will always come back to that, because you'll start thinking to yourself, if I don't do it, how am I going to achieve my goal? And when we talk about achieving goals, the feeling that we get when we do achieve the goal is amazing. As I said, on my running journey, I set out different goals along the way. A goal to run my first marathon, a goal to run a marathon under 3.5 hours, and then chopping it down as I go. And as I improve and I get better at running, I'm obviously going to change the goalpost. I'm going to move my goal. But having that feeling of when I've made that goal, and I'll go back to my last kind of goal that I had was to get a Boston qualifying time. And last year at Melbourne, when I crossed that finish line, knowing I made that time, regardless if I get into Boston or not, maybe I'm not fast enough because of the buffer that we have to get into Boston, but having that feeling that I achieved my goal was incredible. And I want to feel that again. I want to have that feeling, and I want to have that memory that I made my goal. And that's because I was motivated to go out for a run. I was dedicated to my training. I was dedicated to what I wanted to do. And having that goal can really help you go out there for a run. So I recommend set yourself a goal, whatever it is, because I guarantee when you make those goals, the feelings you get from it are amazing. And we want those feelings again. So number one, set yourself a goal. Now, number two, I say to explore. Sometimes we can get a little bit mundane with our running. We run the same route. We run at the same time of the day. Maybe it's the same 5K, 10K route, whatever it might be. Sometimes that can really be a challenge to motivate yourself to go out there. You know exactly how that route goes. You know that when I go down to the street, I turn right, I continue for X amount of kilometers, I turn right again and then left, or whatever it might be. Whatever your route is that you have of running, sometimes that can get a little bit, let's say, mundane, a little bit tiresome, because you're doing the same. So explore. Go out there and explore. Go in your city or in your area. Instead of going right, go left, for example. Get lost on your runs. We've all been there. I've been on many runs where I've been lost, where it's been in a different country where I've run and I've got lost and I don't know where I am and I might not have my phone with me and I've got to try and figure it out. And sometimes you just think to yourself, I just turn around and run back the way you came if you can remember. Sometimes you think, well, I just keep going until I kind of find somewhere that I know. And that part is motivation in itself. That gets you out there, because instead of thinking I'm going to do the same route and the same 5K, 10K run, whatever it might be, I'm going to do something different. And if you kind of get into that situation where you're feeling less motivated because you do the same route, it's difficult in certain areas that you've only got that route to run, well, run it backwards. Go anti-clockwise instead of clockwise. Change it up a little bit and explore. I really love to explore. I think running in different places is a great way to explore. And I'm not going to go into that too much, because I want to go into that in another episode where I talk about running in a different country and how exploring a city is best when you're running. But just in my mindset of trying to motivate ourselves more, exploring is really good. Go on a different route. Go somewhere different for a run. And I think that can really help you to be motivated and get out there. Now, the next one is to have fun. Have fun with that as well, because exploring different places is always fun. And then you get to do it when you're running and you get to be around a different area. That's also fun, but actually have fun on your runs. Sometimes we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. I've been one for doing that, and I'll be honest. I've put a lot of pressure on myself to get certain times or to run at a certain pace or a certain distance. And at times that can be really difficult to motivate yourself, because you're not hitting those goals or you're not achieving those times, and you start losing that joy. Don't lose the joy. Don't lose the joy, and don't lose the fun. Have fun on your runs, because running is fun. We're born to run. As human beings, we're born to run, but we need to enjoy it. We don't just go out there and just think like, I have to do this run for certain reasons. Yes, when we've got goals or we've got health issues or health reasons for running, sometimes we feel like we have to do it. And that's fine. That's fine to feel that you have to do it, but don't put so much pressure on yourself. Go out there and have fun. Have fun on your run. It doesn't matter about time. Yeah, we all want to do a certain time, but the reality is once you're running and you're having fun, you're winning. Straight away you're winning. And if your times get better and you hit your goals, that's just the bonus. For me, when I tried to hit under 3 hours in the recent event in Noosa, even though I didn't make it, I'm disappointed I didn't make my time. Of course, we always are. If we don't hit the goal that we set out for, we're disappointed. But I'm not disappointed in the run. I had fun. I really enjoyed it. It was a great run. And yeah, there was times where I struggled and my body was telling me to stop and my mind was saying, keep going, keep pushing. You still got a few more kilometers to go. I had fun out there and I crossed the finish line and enjoyed that moment as well. As much as it was hard and as much as it was a struggle, I still had fun, and we need to hold on to that. So I definitely recommend you've got to have fun when you're running, and it can be many reasons. You can change things up. You can have fun by doing track training. I love to do track. Track is fun, but for some people, they might not enjoy going around the track a certain amount of times. So you change that to going for a run down by the beach, or going for a run in the city, going for a run around a river, whatever it might be. Have the fun by changing it and then enjoying it. Because if you don't enjoy it, it starts to be really difficult to motivate yourself to go out there for a run. Yes, you want to get fit. Yes, you want to get healthy and you have a goal. But it's hard to motivate yourself if you're not enjoying it. So you have to have fun. So go out there, have fun, enjoy it. And the next one is kind of one of two. It's not only talking to other runners, but maybe running with other runners as well. There's such a great community. Running is an amazing community, and I love it. I really love to be at events and seeing different people, different walks of life, different people with different goals, different challenges that they've overcome, to be there on that start line. And then the finish line itself is the emotions that come from it. But the running community is so amazing. And talk to other runners. Chat to other people. Have a chat about what their goals are. Maybe their goals are the same as yours. Maybe you actually align, and maybe you might go for a few runs with them. That's always a positive as well. Going for a run with someone else. Like I love running with Clara. Me and Clara, we love to run together, and we have a few runs a week where we run together. Yes, some of the other runs we don't run together because we're at different levels. We're at different, times at the moment of how I want to achieve my goal in marathon and how Clara wants to achieve her goal. So yeah, we're running and we're training differently on some of our runs, but a lot of our runs we run together, and I love that. It's so much you take from that. It's enjoyable of having someone there, but also it's the accountability of having that person, right? So the days that you're not motivated, that other person might be motivated. So it kind of works in two ways, right? Because you kind of think to yourself, well, I don't fancy running today. The other person's already suited and booted. They've got their running shoes on. They're ready to go. So, well, you have to join, because you don't want to be that person that says, oh, go out and have fun, I'll see you later. You want to have fun with them, and you know that you enjoy running. You know that you're enjoying being out there. Sometimes it's just that motivation to get out there. But having someone else that can motivate you, whether it's by talking to other runners, or it's by running with other people. I know a lot of people love to running, different running clubs and stuff like that. That's amazing. Having a run club is amazing. If you struggle to run by yourself and motivate yourself, just going, I say, by a run just on your own, having a run club and being able to run with other people, that motivates you as well, and it keeps you accountable. There, it's a friend or your partner going there, going for a run, and you want to enjoy it with them. So definitely talk to other people. Have that talk with the community. There's so many running communities out there. So many great runners. There's so many people that run at your pace. You'll find it when you go to an event. You tend to be around similar people, right? You start off on the run, and then all of a sudden, for a certain amount of kilometers, it may be the whole race, or it may only be 5 or 6K, depending on the distance of your race. You're running with the same people. They're around you because they are actually at your pace. Sometimes it's talk to them, ask them, hey, what are you planning on doing today? Oh, I'm doing this time. Oh, cool, me too. Do you mind if I run with you? And you can build that with a community, and it can motivate you, especially if you have people that live close to you. You go on those runs, especially when you're feeling less motivated. Sometimes it's always nice to go out for a run with someone else. So yeah, talk to other runners and go for runs with other people. Don't necessarily go by yourself. For one, I love to run by myself, and I try and motivate myself to go out there. I say for these reasons. I think it's trying to motivate myself, and I do, and I get out there. But also it's great when I get to run with Clara, and I love to run along with her and have those moments, whether we're talking as we're running, whether I'm trying to help her on her running journey, or she's actually helped me because I really didn't fancy running today, and she got me up there, and out we go. And then the last one I say is make it a habit. Once you start making it a habit, it becomes easier. You realize that I'm doing this on this day, I'm doing that on that day. And I think that then becomes easier. Let's say, for example, me and Clara, We tend to run on a Wednesday, we tend to run on a Friday, and we tend to run on a Sunday. There are our 3 main running days. Sometimes we do some other runs in between, but there are 3 main running days. And we've made it a habit over the years that those are the days we run. Friday is always a 10k run at night. We love to do that. But then weather permitting, sometimes it might not be the best weather out there, so we might not do a 10k. We might only do an 8k. We might just do a 5k because we've both not been feeling great. We still motivate ourselves to go there with the habit of running on a Friday that gets us running on the Friday. Regardless of the distance or the time, we've made it a habit. Sunday is always our longer run. Whatever our long run is going to be that week, we've always done it on a Sunday. And again, we make that the habit. We add things into it. Like we go for a coffee afterwards. So kind of like you look forward to that coffee. You're like, well, we're going out for the run, but I'm going for the coffee as well. So you add little things like that into your run. You play with your runs. You sometimes you go for a fast run, you go for a slow run, whatever it is. But you make it that habit. The habit of going for that run, and you get into it. I say we're not always motivated, and I understand, as I say, about Melbourne at the moment, it is tough. In the winter, it's very difficult. I say you wake up in the morning, you see that it's dark, you see that it's wet, you see it's windy, it's cold. Your bed is all of the opposite, and you just think to yourself, I don't want to get out and do this. If you're a morning runner or going to the gym in the morning, you don't want to do it. You want to stay in your nice warm bed and think, you know what, maybe I'll do it tomorrow. And sometimes it's okay. Sometimes we just got to take that day off. Maybe our body's telling us to rest. Maybe our mind is just not where it needs to be and we need to take a day off. That's okay. But having these other 5 things that I mentioned, setting the goal, exploring when it comes to running, having fun, talking to other runners or running with other people, and then making it a habit. When you wake up and you don't feel motivated and you start thinking about those things, it then motivates you to go out for the run. Having your goal is the prime example. If you set yourself a goal, you can't achieve that unless you're going out there and putting the work in, whether it's from strength work, whether it's from going to the gym, whether it's from going on longer runs or shorter runs, faster runs, whatever it might be. You're not going to be able to achieve your goal unless you go out there and do it. So sometimes when you think to yourself, I'm not motivated to go out there for a run, think of your goal, think of the bigger picture and go, well, how do I achieve this goal? That's by going out there and doing what I need to do. So then when you're not feeling as motivated, you change it on yourself and you do get motivated. And then when you think to yourself, I don't want to run the same route. It's a difficult route today. Change it, explore, go somewhere different and go, well, you know what? I need to go out for a run. I've got my goal. So yeah, I'm now going to go and run differently. And then you have fun. I don't know many runs that I've done where I ever regretted a run. I've never regretted going out there for a run, even if I've got wet, even if it was cold. That's never a regret. I've always come back from the run and gone, I'm glad I done it. Whether or not it was the best run I've ever done, whether or not I had fun doing that run throughout the whole course of it, but I enjoyed it still. I still enjoyed it, and I still come back and think, I'm glad I went for a run. As I say, no run's a bad run. We just have other runs that are better than others. So always to think that as well. And as I say, running with other people or talking to other runners, you might have a goal and you're talking to people and they're really helping you to achieve that goal. They're telling you that you can do it because you can. If you set that goal, you will make it. You just sometimes got to put that work in. But when you talk to other people, that can motivate you and get out there. Or maybe you go for a run with someone else. They hold you accountable. Like I say, there's been many times where I don't fancy going for a run. And then Clara's all ready to go. And she's like, we're going for a run. And she helps me along the way. And vice versa. I'm sure there's times where Clara didn't want to go for a run. And I'm already dressed and I'm ready to go. So she's like, well, we're going on this run. So that helps as well. And then as I say, making it a habit. Once you make it a habit, it then becomes easier. As we know, humans were creatures of habit. Once we get into a habit and we do something, we start to stick to it. And running's no different. Once we go out there and run, and once we start, maybe it's on a certain day or a certain time, whatever it might be, it is the case for me and Clara, it becomes a habit and we just do it. So those are 5 things I think we can think about when we're struggling with motivation and we're struggling to go out there. Have a little thought, think about all those things, and maybe it's applicable to you, maybe it's not, but I really hope so. I really hope some of you will listen there and go like, yeah, at times I haven't been motivated and I have struggled, but I do think about those things. I do think about setting my goal or, having fun, and I do think about running with other people or talking to the community. So yeah, I really hope that can help some of you guys in these winter months here in Australia or in the summer months when it's really hot. Maybe you don't want to motivate yourself to go out there and get even hotter by running. So think about those things and see if that helps you to motivate yourself a little bit more. I know it certainly helps me and Clara. We definitely can motivate ourselves to get out there. And I say not always is running, about motivating ourselves. We have to have that dedication. We have to have the determination and the passion, and we've got to motivate ourselves as well to do that. And we do. We all of that comes together, and that's what gets us out there and running. Maybe not every day, but we're running there how many times a week we like to run, and that's what gets us there, with all of our dedication to it, but also those other things I mentioned. So I hope that helps you. If you are struggling with some motivation, go back in the memory bank and think about that time where you achieved that goal and how that made you feel. And then you change the goal because you've improved and you want that feeling again. So that can, when you're struggling to get up to go for that run, think about that feeling that you want to get as you cross that finish line in that event, or when you complete whatever goal it is you're going for. Go out there and get it. Now, if you haven't checked already, on Instagram, I normally put the interesting events of the weekend. There was a couple events that really interested me. There was the Samoa Marathon, which I just thought, how cool is that? And Samoa doing an amazing little marathon over there. Not many people attend that, but I thought such a beautiful area of the world, not too far from Australia here, and to get to run in a tropical area around by the beach. The weather seems to be perfect at that time of year. So yeah, good luck to anyone in the Samoa Marathon. It looks really cool, and maybe one day we'll get to visit Samoa and maybe even run the marathon over there. Who knows? But it looks really cool. So yeah, check that one out. And then the other one was part of Albatross Adventure Marathons. They are currently doing the Big 5 Marathon over in South Africa. It looks absolutely incredible. I was speaking to Simon, who I shared the story of last week on the podcast, and he went over and done that challenge a few years ago and said it was amazing. He recommends it to anyone. The Big 5 is a fantastic event, and it does look amazing. Just the running there around these beautiful animals. You've got lions around by you. You've got elephants, giraffes, all sorts. I'm sure if I was running there and I seen a lion, it'd make me run a little bit faster for sure. But the images look amazing. So good luck to everyone that is running the Big 5 Marathon. We do know a couple people that have gone over there, so best of luck to them. I know Jose's over there at the moment, so good luck to Jose. Enjoy that. It's an amazing event, and one of those that Albatross put on those amazing events. And then moving on to next week's episode, that's what I want to share a little bit about as well. Me and Clara have been lucky that we've gone over to Petra and we've done the Albatross Adventure Marathon, and we're lucky that we're going to go over to Iceland to do the Volcano Marathon. And I want to talk a little bit next week about how running in different countries is just amazing. Like whether it's just on a holiday and how much you can just take your running shoes with you and just go for a run in different places. I want to go into that a little bit next week. But big shout out to everyone in any events they're doing this weekend, or as always, just normal runs, long run, short run, whatever it might be. Go out there, enjoy it, and have fun. As always, if you haven't already, please subscribe on YouTube, like, comment, follow me on Instagram, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, wherever you do listen. I really appreciate everyone listening and giving me some great feedback and some good comments. It's always nice, and I want to hear everyone's story, so please reach out and share your story. But as always, until next time, enjoy all your running you're having this weekend, and as always, happy running.